CCX News, a closer look at theft. What impact did it have on the Brooklyn Park Cub closure? We get crime data from police. The Brooklyn Park Cub along West Broadway and Brooklyn Boulevard announced it's planning to close effective November 16th. Officially, the company blamed the store's business and performance criteria, but anecdotally, community members blamed theft. We reached out to Brooklyn Park Police for the numbers, which tell a different story. When Cub announced last month that it was closing its Brooklyn Park South store, customers we spoke with put the blame on one thing.
It's crime basically everywhere.
I've seen that they've been trying to save it, putting security in there, putting the police box in the parking lot, but that just wasn't stopping the community from stealing. And it's just heartbreaking to hear that they're going to be closing.
We can only deal with what we're called to.
However, if you talk to the Brooklyn Park Police Department, they say the numbers don't back up that perception.
It's not all crime. A lot of people just want to say, oh, it's Brooklyn Park, it's got to be crime, it's got to be crime. Well, no, it doesn't, and it's not just that. Probably a lot of different things.
According to data compiled by Brooklyn Park Police, there have only been 16 reported thefts at Cub so far this year, compared to 137 in 2019.
Every year from 2019, we've seen a steady decrease in the amount of thefts at Cub Foods. Whether they're reporting that less, I don't know the answer to that. But all I can do is show the stats that we have, and it shows that it appears that theft is decreasing there.
Meanwhile, experts say that it's extremely difficult to make money in the grocery store business with razor-thin profit margins. So if crime isn't the reason, it may come down to good old-fashioned competition.
You know, you have Walmart very close. They're a little cheaper than Cub on most things. You got Hy-Vee that opened up recently. There's another Cub Foods further up off 610. I mean, people have options on where to go.
Meanwhile, Inspector Faust says Cub recently hired Brooklyn Park Police to act as security at that location. That contract runs at least through the end of October. The Crystal Police Department has several suspects in custody after a weekend car chase. According to Crystal Police, an officer tried to stop a vehicle that ran a red light on Saturday. Police used a pit maneuver, bringing the car to a stop. 4 suspects in the car ran from the scene and were later arrested. Officers also found 2 handguns that were tossed away during the chase. One had been reported stolen and was modified to fire fully automatic. The case is being forwarded to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office for charges. Local city halls are busy crunching numbers. The latest city to approve a preliminary budget, the city of Plymouth. The City Council recently approved a 5.2% tax levy increase for the medium-valued home in Plymouth, which is $481,000. City property taxes would go up $16. The proposed tax levy increase is among the lowest in the entire metro compared to peer cities. The tax levy can still be lowered, but it cannot go higher. Property owners in Minnesota's largest school district can expect a slight drop in the tax rate. The Anoka-Hennepin School Board approved its preliminary property taxes with a 1% decrease. According to district officials, the student population is growing at a slower rate than anticipated. There's about 500 fewer students than planned. The drop in students means a drop in taxes. District officials say your property taxes will fluctuate with the value of your home. The school board is hosting a public hearing on the levy on December 9th at the Sandberg Education Center. If you think the start of fall has been unusual, you'd be correct. This September is one of the warmest and driest on record. Reporter Emily Haugen visited Lined Greenhouse to learn what that means for our plants.
In a Minnesota greenhouse in the fall, you'll likely find rows and rows of chrysanthemums.
If you want to enjoy them longer, you get them when they're not as open.
At Lined Greenhouse in Maple Grove, Amy Langus helps customers change with the seasons.
When will it be in full beauty, full openness? And that is just dependent on the weather, how hot it is, and how much sun we're getting at the time.
This fall in Minnesota, though, looks a little different for plants and those who tend to them. Langus has noticed and recommends people adjust accordingly.
It just really becomes important to keep an eye on our plants and make sure they're getting enough water.
This includes your big trees because there hasn't been enough water in the atmosphere. New Hope weather observer Steve Reckers says this September's only seen 0.34 inches of rain, a surprise after a very rainy summer.
80 degrees was the average high in September. Never, going back to the late 50s, has it been that warm.
He says this makes the outdoors somewhat pleasant for us, but it's not great for the trees, especially if you're looking for fall colors.
They're turning later here as a result of what we're having. You know, it's warm.
Fortunately, you can make up for some of that lack of color at Lined.
People get excited about having displays of pumpkins. We have some corn stalks, rye bundles, have a few hay or straw bales.
In Maple Grove, Emily Haugen, CCX News.
Finally, this segment, Plymouth on Parade became Plymouth in Place. The city's annual parade took a hiatus due to road construction, so the city partnered with Loose Line Brewing to hold a first-of-its-kind event on Saturday. We leave you with the sights and sounds, including music from the band Blue Folk. Enjoy.
Music to his cattle as he swings back and forth in the saddle on his horse, a pretty good horse, that's a syncopated gait. Such a funny meter to the roar of his repeater as they run. You can hear that fella's gun because the western folks all know he's a highfalutin, son of a gun from Arizona, ragtime cowboy. Talk about your cowboy, ragtime cowboy Joe.
The Armstrong football team came into their Week 5 game with a 4-0 record, but facing their toughest challenge of the season, taking on last year's Class 5A state runner-up St. Thomas Academy. Chaz Moots has more.
Armstrong football hoping to get some payback. The Falcons lost to the Cadets last year in the regular season by 31. No scoring in the first quarter. Armstrong on the doorstep of the end zone to start the second. Dawson Franke rolls right, finds Pharrell DeLine. The Falcons strike first and go in front. That was the only score in the first half. In the third quarter, Armstrong gets their ground game going. It's their star running back, Kevon Johnson, weaving in and out of the Cadet defense and breaking tackles for the 21-yard score. Falcons up 14-0. STA did answer back with a score to pull within 7, but again it's Johnson on the move. Great blocking from his lineman up front. The senior goes untouched, 73 yards for the score. Johnson ran for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. Fourth quarter, the Cadets hung around. They pulled within 1 score again, but the Falcon defense held firm. Noah Gorgos with the pick. Armstrong keeps rolling, now 5-0 on the season with the win over STA.
My old linemen, they just know how to hit their right guys. You know, I just fall behind them, make a little move, I'm able to get out. You know, it's because of them I'm able to, make those really long runs. I feel like with every game, we're definitely progressing. But this game is a big, big milestone because we lost last year. Not all on our A game, but we knew that if we all locked in, we were going to win this game. But with this win, we feel definitely confident about this whole season.
In Plymouth, Chaz Moots, CCX Sports.
It was homecoming at Park Center High School last week. The Pirates football team looked to go over the 500 mark on the season as they hosted Irondale.
Beautiful early fall afternoon at Park Center as the Pirates hosted Irondale. First offensive series of the game for the Pirates, and quarterback De Niro Fellows pump fakes and then hits Sean Freeman in stride with a pass, and the senior wide receiver does the rest. He goes 45 yards to the end zone for a touchdown. Park Center leads 7-0. The Knights answer with a good drive of their own. Titus Olferts bounces outside, and the Irondale junior with a strong one all the way down to the Park Center 2-yard line, and it sets up a score. A couple of plays later, it's Olferts again on the carry. A 1-yard touchdown run for him. It's a 7-7 game after a quarter. Second quarter, and Fellows back to pass. He finds Tyjon Brooks in the back of the end zone for a 23-yard touchdown. The extra point is missed. Pirates are up 13-7. Irondale again comes back. This time it's Frederick Bankston, and he wins the race to the front corner of the end zone for a 13-yard touchdown run. The Knights added another score to lead 21-13 at the half. Good first drive to start the second half for Park Center. Fellows to Freeman. Freeman with some great moves gets loose and takes this one all the way, 50 yards for his second touchdown of the night. Park Center goes on to win 27-21. The Pirates are now 3-2 on the season.
Providence Academy football hosts Orono this Friday in a big Skyway Bronze sub-district game. First, though, the Lions needed to take care of business in their homecoming game.
The Lions looking to improve to 4-1 on the season, taking on winless Delano. First quarter, Providence quarterback Magnus Hansen rolls out and floats a pass to Matthew Hunter in the end zone. It's a 28-yard touchdown pass. The Lions lead 14-0 after one. Watch this interception by Providence defensive back Quinn Lacombe. He tips it up in the air to himself and comes up with the pick. One of 6 interceptions recorded by the Lions defense in the game. Right before halftime, Noah Bora boots through a 22-yard field goal. His 3 points give the Lions a 17-0 lead at the half. Third quarter, the Delano pass goes off the receiver's hands and right to Luke Trader, who runs it in from the 12-yard line for a touchdown. Providence Academy leads 24-0 on the way to a 31-0 shutout win on homecoming. Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.